Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a few things. You guys know I like to freestyle. But first thing I want to talk about is that a few people have asked me, Fred, what's the difference between now jail and jail when you went to prison, when you went to jail? I went to jail at the end of the 80s, went upstate in 1990. So I seen the end of the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s all in the penitentiary. And the difference is that it was, here's the thing. Everyone from their time will say their generation was the wildest, right? But I'm here to tell you that in my era, I do really honestly feel that it was the wildest. I feel back in the days on Rikers Island, it was a lot more dangerous than it is now. I feel that when I went to jail back then, things were different as far as like inmates ran the phone. Now you get a bracelet and it's not the same. Back in my day, if you weren't willing to fight, if you weren't willing to cut, if you weren't willing to stab, then you couldn't touch the phone. You had to know somebody, something. Now it's a bit different. Everybody does it. Back in my day, you can wear your own clothes, your own watches, your own jewelry, your own sneakers. Everything was different. So people were getting robbed left and right. People were being abused left and right. Nowadays, it's a bit different. Not that it's not less abusive. Things do definitely happen. We understand that it's jail. But it's a lot safer in certain places. There's cameras now everywhere, so it's hard to get away with anything. In my era, it wasn't like that. It was a bit different. There was no cameras everywhere. There was nobody to save your ass if you went up in that bathroom and had to fight somebody or something like that. You was literally, in your mind, you better fight for your life because you don't know if you're coming out this bathroom. Nowadays, there's cameras everywhere and a lot of security, so it's a bit different. It's still rough. It's still gangster. It's still thugged out. But it's just a bit different. And anybody who went to prison back in the days will identify and shake their heads as they're watching it because they understand. It was different. It was a different time, different era, different group of people. Nowadays, you know what I feel changed a lot is the whole gang situation, right? I feel that with this gang infiltration that's going on in the penitentiary, because everybody's banging, it made it a little bit easier for certain people. Let me explain. It made it easier for some certain people because back in the days you were judged when you came through on who you were and if you could hold it down. And you were going to get tried and to see if you could hold it down. That's what the game was. That's what it was about. And if you couldn't hold your own, you was getting robbed. You was getting smacked. You was being called somebody's son. See, it's different now. Now you call people your son, that means like your boy. Oh, that's my son. That's my boy. That's my friend. It's like a term of endearment, right? In my day, it wasn't like that. When somebody called you son, that means they felt you was a sucker. You know what sons did? Sons used to wash clothes. Sons used to wash their daddy's dirty ass socks and underwear, put them in a bucket, laundry, a little soap, and they would hand wash people's stuff. Those were sons. Sons were people who went to the commissary and gave up half their commissary to somebody else. That was sons back in my days. Sons couldn't get on the phone unless somebody else said, hey, go ahead, take the last 5 minutes of my time, call your family. Those were sons. Difference. Nowadays, like I said, with the gang life, you could just be a gang member. You could be a sucker gang member. Because let me tell you something, man. Not everybody who's in gang, who does that gang shit is gangster, man. That's a fact. A lot of these dudes, turn because they soft. Not everybody. I'm saying some. So it become easier for when a dude comes through Rikers Island, and he sees somebody, yo, what you who you know what you about? Who are you? And they say they blood, or they say they crib, or they say the Latin King, or they say whatever they are. There's gonna be a other group there like them, so they're gonna fall in line right with them. More like a, like fall right in. Oh, you blood? Oh, okay, here the homies over here. You go and you hang out with the homies. It's different. In my day, it wasn't like that. It was like, yo, where you from? You know, and it was about boroughs. If you from Queens, you hung out with Queens dudes. Like, but a lot of the beefs, a lot of the drama was borough shit, man. I'm telling you, it was crazy. The borough thing was nuts. Nowadays, it's, again, it's probably some of that, but it's more the gang life, and it made it easier for the suckers to fall right in line. It made it easier for people to come in, say they're a certain set, and get with their people and hide, because really inside they soft. Really inside they suckers. A lot of guns made it like that too. There was always guns and there was always murders and killings, but a lot of guns, they give people heart. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guns gave suckers heart. So gangs and guns changed everything.